How's it going, guys? My name is Tavarish, and today I'm going to show you. Today I'm going to show you
clickbait.
Listen, this is not clickbait, so can you please be quiet?
Fine.
Thank you. Today I'm going to show you. That's it.
I'm sorry.
So we are back to working on my SL55. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel, thanks for joining us, and I hope you guys like it. This is my 2003 Mercedes-Benz SL55 AMG. It is the cheapest one in the country, and I'm turning it into a manual transmission model. Now, they never made a manual transmission model, so it's gonna be a labor of love, and it's gonna be a lot of work for me. But until I can get to the point where I'm modding out transmissions and putting a lot of other stuff on this cool car, I'm gonna have to get it to 100%. So we're gonna be changing these very, very worn out brakes. You probably can't even see it through the wheel. So let's take that wheel off, and yeah. Wow, those brakes are really huge. So what you're looking at here are the biggest brakes ever put on a production car by Mercedes up until that point. This car was made in 2003. This is a 8-piston AMG caliper made by Brembo. The rears are 4-piston, but they're still just as massive. These rotors are 14.2 inches, and they are not slotted, but they are cross-drilled, and these things are just absolutely ginormous. Just for comparison's sake, this brake rotor is so big, it's about the size of a wheel that you'd get on something like my wife's Hyundai. So this is absolutely insane that they would put this on a production car. We are gonna change this out because, as you can see, there are grooves in this brake rotor, and you definitely don't want any grooves. There's also quite a big lip right here, and the lip basically means that the material for the rotor has been worn down to the point where you can't salvage it anymore. A lot of people think that this is a defect by Mercedes, that they don't have 100% of pad touching the rotor and it leaves a little lip.
I just can't wait to see what the Mercedes lovers are going to come back with when I upload this video on YouTube, how they can possibly defend this horrible design. Even the lug nuts are designed retarded. Look at this.
But honestly, it's an ingenious solution because a lot of people, they just replace pads and they don't know that their rotors are out of spec, meaning that their rotors don't have enough meat left on it to have a good adhesion with the pad. So this allows you to see how far the pad has eaten away into the rotor and whether or not you can salvage them. This is not salvageable. This is a very, very old rotor, and there's like corrosion everywhere, and it's all nasty. We have a new solution for this, and I can't wait to put it on. Now, as most cars of this price range and performance level, these components are pretty pricey. Mercedes, when I went to them to get a pre-purchase inspection or post-purchase inspection, since I already bought the car, they told me that the front brakes alone would be $1,200. If you add in a labor cost and miscellaneous stuff, and also the rear with pads and rotors, you'd be looking at over $2,000 to have a dealer do this for you. Now, the parts themselves are actually quite pricey. This Zimmerman rotor, oh, this thing is huge and it's very heavy. This Zimmerman rotor, 2 of them for the front would cost you about $350. Now, they are really good OEM quality, but you can actually get cheaper ones. You can get stuff off eBay, even though the quality may be a little hit or miss. This Zimmerman rotor, it's zinc plated and it's very, very good. But I know what you're thinking now. Tavarish, you told us that you can get stuff for free. And that's why I clicked, and this is clickbait, this is clickbait, this is clickbait. Well, fear not, my lovely, lovely viewers, because I'm gonna tell you how you can get stuff like this, like the brakes, like the pads, like basically any part on this car for free. And no, you don't have to buy a ticket to my seminar. No, you don't have to sign up to some weird website where they want to fish you for details. No, this is real. However, there is a caveat, because the cost, the upfront cost at least, is not 100% free. You have to actually buy the part. So that Zimmerman rotor was actually sent to me by a company called FCP Euro. Now, FCP Euro is a company that has been dealing with BMWs and Audis and Mercedes and basically any European brand for quite a while, and they've made a name for themselves by producing and providing parts for those communities. But one thing I didn't know, and when they reached out to me, they told me this, I still kind of can't believe it, is that if you buy, let's say, some brake rotors and pads, After you're done with them, because they are a wear item and you will need to replace them, after you're done with those items, you can send them back to FCP Euro and they will send you a brand new set for free. And it doesn't matter what condition it's in, it doesn't matter if you tracked it. You can give them old pads, you can give them old oil, you can give them anything that they sell on their site. If you give it back to them in their packaging and they have your receipt on file, then they will send you out a brand new part for free for life. That seems really counterintuitive to me, but when I spoke to FCP Euro, they told me that it's because they want to build a relationship with people, and that people, when they keep on coming back to them, they tend to buy more stuff, which makes sense. It makes sense to me, and I will be using their services a lot in the future because they have almost every part that's available for this car, the SL55, on their website, but they have basically every European car manufacturer on there. So if you got a BMW, if you got a VW, if you got an Audi, if you have a Mercedes, if you have, I'm pretty sure they have Skoda as well, stuff that we don't even get here in the States. No, they're not a sponsor, they didn't pay me for this. They just sent me out some parts and they said that we want to provide you with some good quality parts, and if you want to give us a shout out, you know, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. We just want to help out a guy who apparently loves working on cars. They seem like really good guys, and the link for that will be in the description below, so check it out. So the first thing we're gonna do, we're not even gonna touch the brakes yet. We are going to disconnect the SBC pump. Now, this car, the R230 and the W211, that's the E-Class, they had this thing called SBC, which is Sensotronic Brake Control. It doesn't have a traditional brake booster that's connected with vacuum and sort of vacuum assisted, and that's how you get power brakes. This is completely electronic. So what this does is it's a very sophisticated computer that skims the pads on the surface of the rotor to make sure that the rotors never get wet when you're moving, and it has a lot of really interesting features, but unfortunately this system falls prey to a lot of mechanical problems. I know I've made a video in the past about the warning light this SBC pump was giving me, and honestly I've gotten a lot of feedback from that as well, so I might have been wrong just because it doesn't fix the problem, it only masks it, because there is a brushed motor inside this ECU, or rather inside this pump. And at some point I will have to rebuild this pump, and that also is a DIY solution, and look forward to that coming up. But just know that I have updated that video to link to this video, and to make sure that people know that it's not 100% fixed, and it just fixes the light, it doesn't fix the actual problem underneath, which is, yeah, you learn a lot when you do stuff like this. I would make sure that you rebuild this SBC pump and get new brushes, and those, I think I can find the link. So if I can, then the link will be in the description below, but if not, then I'll just have to do some more digging, and you guys can just Google it yourselves. But in any case, I'm gonna be taking off the harness for this SBC pump. So what that does is it pressurizes the system even when the car is off. And we don't want the system to be pressurized because we're gonna be working on the calipers. We're gonna take off the calipers, and if the calipers compress, then my hand is gonna go bye-bye. So we're gonna remove this. It shouldn't have any issue because we're not gonna be turning the car on, but we're just gonna remove this little connector, and then we can work on the brakes just like normally. All right, since you guys have likely seen a brake install or two before, and I've done brake installs on other cars on this channel before, so check that out. I'm not gonna bore you with the details, but I'll give you a quick rundown of what needs to happen. So we need to undress this caliper, meaning that we need to take off all the hardware, we need to take off the old pads, which look really past it. Take off the old pads, there are 4 of them, take off the hardware, take off the little brake warning indicator. Then we can take off the caliper. There should be 2 bolts in the back, and then the caliper can come up here. I'll just rest it on this control arm, and maybe I'll bungee it down with something. And then we can take off the rotor. Now the rotor looks like it's probably rusted on there pretty good, but there is a little locating bolt right here, and that looks like it's a Torx bit. So as soon as that comes out, then I can maybe give it a whack with a hammer, and it should come right out. And from there, I will just clean up the hub, make sure that the hub is really clean so we don't have any vibrations after we put the new rotor on. And then I will put on the new caliper. Well, the caliper is not new, the caliper is going to be old, but I'm going to put on the new hardware, the new pads, and then we should be done. And hopefully I can give this a nice, ooh, look at that, it cleaned right up. That's a lot of brake dust. New pads, new rotor, and that should be good for one side. So Let's get to it. So look at that. We have officially finished the brakes, these massive 14.2 inch rotors, and cleaned up the caliper, and it looks really, really good. I like the way the red brake pads set everything off, kind of stealth mode. I didn't want a red brake caliper because this isn't that kind of car. But these wheels gotta go. They're ugly, they're dirty, and I don't really like them, but it's all I have for now, so we'll see what we can do about that later. But right now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the back. But since the rear of the car is basically the same thing as the front of the car in terms of how to do it in procedure, then I'm just gonna end the video there. And we have finished this awesome mod. And any of you that want a really, really good service as far as getting these parts for free for life, you guys should go to FCP Euro, link in the description below. So the next thing I'm gonna be doing on this car, well, coming up in the next episodes, is giving this a really good detail, because this feels like sandpaper. And it looks like, well, it looks like something I can't say on this channel. This needs a really good polish, a really good detail. I'm gonna have some body work done, but for now, that's gonna be it. If you like this video, and I hope you do, consider subscribing. It helps get the word out that I love doing stuff like this, and gets the word out that I like sharing it with you. So yeah, it's a win-win. But if you'd like to contact me for any reason, you want to talk to me about cars or personal problems, or actually, you know what, leave the personal problems to yourself. You can contact me at @TheRealTavarish. That is Instagram and Twitter. Facebook.com/AskTavarish, and AskTavarish@gmail.com is my email, and I read every single one. Also, if you'd like to support me personally with my builds, every single dollar that I make off these shirts, off these Wrench Everyday shirts that I do want you to get dirty, they go to these builds. They don't go to me eating, or they don't go to me paying for my house. They go directly to these builds. I do have other shirts featuring the $8,900 SL if you don't want to have a slogan that is sort of undecipherable. But in any case, links for that will be in the description below. But until next time, this is me telling you that on cars like this that now have awesome brakes, you guys need to wrench every day.